We are at the Comic-Con Museum. First of two lives that we'll be doing today. We'll do the traditional talk later in the day, but we are going to preview some of what's new at the Comic-Con Museum this morning. We know a lot of people will catch up with this later, so everything here will be running throughout the Comic-Con season, so you can check it out whenever you want to, watching this video later on. But also those of you that will join this morning, welcome. So we'll take a look at the new exhibits here, and then we will move ourselves around actually to look more broadly at the museum. So starting out here, we're going to look at two of the new exhibits that are coming, or I shouldn't say coming, that are here now for this Comic-Con season. So first up, it says it right there, Tokidoki, 20 Years of Kawaii and Chaos. And if you are a Comic-Con fan, you have definitely, or would imagine, seen the Tokidoki booth there and a number of other conventions throughout the year that they show up at, but always love to see their stuff. I remember we used to grab their keychains all the time. They did a Marvel line as well, and we still have a bunch of those. They've done some really neat stuff just on their own, but also with licensing. So looking at this, to read from the press release a little bit as we look at some of the offerings here. The global pop culture, art, and lifestyle brand Tokidoki proudly announces a landmark retrospective exhibition of 20 years. Celebrating 2 decades. Its founding in 2005, Tokidoki has become a worldwide phenomenon, captivating fans with its vibrant characters, fashion-forward collaborations, and a universe where sweetness meets rebellion. And I know to me that's always been kind of the vibe. I mean, you can see it there with the Street Fighter hats and stuff. Very much sweetness meets rebellion. And so on the display here, they have it set up with various categories of like their partnerships, their own development of IP. But here we've got like some Funko Pops. Familiar face there. Their take again, the sweetness with Godzilla. Their Cactus Friends line, Till Death Do Us Part. All sorts of scales, figures. Also lots of kind of life-size versions. Oh, here's some of the bags. But life-size versions as well, which make great for photo ops here. So the Comic-Con Museum brings in all sorts of different exhibits. We'll take a look at the end, just not fully, but at the Doctor Who exhibit as well. The Doctor Who one, we have a full video from being here for their opening. That is obviously the big draw at the center of the museum. But all of these exhibits are included in admission. There's also the makers area. We'll go by a few of the things that are offered there. Definitely a really fun way to celebrate Comic-Con throughout the year, and always a nice addition to Comic-Con season for those traveling in that are able to get in a little early or maybe have a day off from the convention, so on. So this area, I believe last year Comic-Con, this was all Betty Boop themed, and so now obviously all Tokidoki. They also have a new exhibit for Luann, which is celebrating, I believe it's 40 years. I'll get read the details there as we transition to that room. And then there is the Doctor Who exhibit, as well as a Lucha Libre one. We've got Tokidoki Barbie. Karl Lagerfeld line. All that Marvel. They don't have the, oh yeah, wait, there are the keychains. So yeah, I think this was one of the earlier things we started picking up from them. Keychains. Love Captain America with his hamburger. All sorts of great stuff. All right, now we'll make our way over past Tokidoki to the Luann section here. Growing Up Luann, 40 years of comics. We'll also come back over off to the side. There is their like cosplay museum. There's all sorts of great costumes in there. All right, they're doing some photos, I believe. Doing a little photo shoot here. So actually, let's loop over to the cosplay area and we'll come back to this. Give them a minute to finish up their shots there. All right, Masquerade, the art of cosplay. It's a fun year-round exhibit here. At least it feels like year-round. Just celebrating the art of cosplay, which is obviously a big part of not just San Diego Comic-Con, but so many conventions. One of the things we've enjoyed about the Comic-Con Museum is how kind of fresh they've kept the exhibits. It feels like every couple months hey there, Chad, good to see you. Every few months there's like something new going on. So there's always a reason for us living about hour 45, 2 hours away. It's something that, when we come down here outside of Comic-Con season, it's nice because it's every 3 months or so. And it's like, yep, there's going to be stuff to see. There's always something new to see, it feels like. The Doctor Who exhibit, if you've not seen that, is really incredible. I think it's probably my favorite exhibit they've done, even though Spider-Man and the heroes that were there right before, the mythology of heroes, those were fantastic too. But there's just so many original costumes that they've included there. It's just really fascinating what they have for Doctor Who this time around. And the Doctor Who one will be here till March. I'm not sure how long Tokidoki here is running, but definitely through Comic-Con season. A few more Tokidoki pieces here from Simone Legno.
She drove down from LA today. She hit the wall.
All right, so Growing Up Luann, celebrating the comic strip, originated in 1985. Taking over, I believe this room was it last year. This was all like Crunchyroll or My Hero stuff, and this time rotating to the celebration of Luann. 40 years of the Luanniverse. A collection of characters here. The creator, Greg Evans, made Luann up based off of his own daughter, who I believe was 13 at the time, and kind of built the world all around that. Obviously a common thing in art to write what you know, and so starting at a foundation. And there it notes the happy relationships and heart tugging, a big part of Luann. Evans won the Ink Pot Award at Comic-Con in 2005. So, long-time roots with San Diego Comic-Con. And really awesome to see it represented here. Millions of readers globally. And it's again part of what's, I think, really cool about the museum is celebrating. I mean, we've got the independent artists here. You've got the Tokidoki with independent art and the blending of properties, brands, etc. And you have something like Doctor Who that's obviously been a big legacy of pop culture there, all sorts of things.
In all variations of the union going.
Yeah. There have been a lot.
Very nice note there. Thanks, Mr. Dre. Thank you. Second Tuesday, said? Okay. Tokidoki is here until May of 26. So if you're coming out in the fall, if you're not doing Comic-Con or you just don't have time and you want to come back down, May of 26. And then when we get to Doctor Who, that's running till March of 26. Should note there's the theater there. This is, they're in preview mode right now. There's not anything showing in the theater. But we've sat in there before and watched, like when Betty Boop was here, they were doing Betty Boop cartoons in there, and they do a variety of different offerings. So just to orient ourselves with people unfamiliar with the museum, that's actually the entrance there. The famous McFarlane Batman statue. Here we've got our Doctor Who portion, but we're going to make our way up here to see the rest of the exhibits before that, because we're just going to kind of briefly look at Doctor Who, because we have a whole video on Who if you're interested in that. You can head to our live offerings. I think it's like an hour or something like that. All right, so we're up here. Main lobby, upstairs. This is new since our last visit here, at least. The art and tradition of Mexican Lucha Libre. Obviously lots of costumes, but also the art inspired by it. Hey there, Andrew. Siniestro. Not yellow, but fun to see a take on that. And we appreciate you watching. Thank you. Ray Halcyon and Villanova 4. Photography included here as well as part of the exhibit. Again, with their rotating exhibits, like one of the exhibits they really loved that was up here was all of the Comic-Con, well, not all of, but so many of the Comic-Con programs and a lot of the original art that went with it. So you'd see like original Jim Lee, Frank Miller, etc. This is the Education Center. We checked this out. I don't think it was in the last video we did from here, but the one prior to that. But they actually have all sorts of hands-on activities there. Cardboard building, like RC car type stuff, really a lot of fun things there. And so obviously today their hours 12:30, 3:30, so we're a little early for it. Looks like what, K9 TARDIS cardboard crafts. So sometimes mechanical elements to it, like an engineering side to it, sometimes purely art drawing type sides, but always different offerings there, which is fun to see too. And especially for the little ones, I mean, we had fun ourselves they had like a coding type activity that we have no experience with, but they kind of taught us how to do it. And it was fun programming these vehicles to move. But I think even more so probably for the little ones. Look at all these masks. I look familiar, Ultraman. This is great. Werewolf. Luchador Halloween. The Black Spider, he looks a little familiar. Phantasma, also very familiar. There's a take on the Phantom. More blending of original pieces and inspirations. Mathematical. All about that math. All right, the exhibit continues. So this is bringing us in a full circle around the top floor, and then we're basically making our way up to the lobby area again. Thunder Rosa. There we go. I'm always a fan of seeing the action figures. More art, inspirations, and then again, I've got masks. I've got some Mickey Mouse and the Super Pinocchio. Robot Man. They call this one R2-D2. Looks very Power Rangers. Transformer. Aquaman. Robin. Iron Man. The Arana Roja. Some Spider-Man love there. More Power Ranger types. We've got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes. That is awesome. Some Predator, Alien, Thundercats, Super Cholo, they call this one. Kiss, Exorcista, Scream, and The Predator. Bookending that. Some comic book and photo novellas. This side. Women's World Championship belt, the Trios Championship belt. More costumes. Here looking more like some of the comics we see more often there, particularly the three at the top there. So this is another one of the rooms that alternates, but this time, as you can see, so all of this top floor is all leaning into the Sangre, Sudor y Mito, Blood, Sweat, and Myth Lucha Libre exhibit. So that is the entirety of the top floor this year. This little library area, some hands-on. Ramses from Lucha Libre. This is some artwork from Daniel Warren Johnson from Do a Powerbomb. This is such a good comic. If you're not familiar with it, highly, highly suggest Do a Powerbomb. I haven't even really been into wrestling in a very long time, but it was absolutely mesmerizing. Incredible. Daniel Warren Johnson's fantastic, but the story is just something else. Kind of transcends space and time in a lot of ways, all framed around families and relationships and wrestling. Really good stuff. The museum is big on hands-on offerings, as maybe you could tell. I mean, the maker area obviously closed off today. I'm sorry, right now. But you do see lots of different spots where you can read, draw, interact. The Doctor Who exhibit also has a number of spots where you can push buttons and all of that. So, like I said, we did a full video of Doctor Who, so we're not going to go too deep into that. But just to kind of set it up again, it goes until next March. You start out with all sorts of, I mean, it really takes you through the entire timeline as it stands today in the most timey-wimey sense that there is of the Doctors and their costumes. You've got the monsters. I love seeing the weeping angels in there. Of course, Daleks. Couldn't have it without Daleks, right? Some really, really beautiful stuff in there. And again, lots of hands-on. In fact, maybe the most hands-on activities that they've had as an exhibit here, I think, on its own. And so Doctor Who takes up the center of it. It is a massive exhibit. So like I said, I think the video we have up in our library there of lives, it's like an hour, I think, of us in there. So we're not going to take that full hour now because we got to get to the gas lamp and work on some new videos for Comic-Con. But it is available if you want to keep watching it. But yeah, we're going to head to the lobby and check out the store, see what else they have going on in there. Sometimes they get some Comic-Con merch early, things like that. But again, yeah, this is, you make your way through the TARDIS, and you can do that in that video that we have up there. You can check out, if you're interested, like they had the opening moment, they had it dedication, all of that. And it is Worlds of Wonder, where science meets fiction. As you can see, it goes to March 14th there. All right, let's go over here. They currently don't have, if you remember, if you've watched before, this was all like Pac-Man themed. That exhibit has moved on. So this area is in transition. When we were here for Doctor Who, they were using this for kind of the food and drink area. So I'm not sure if there's another exhibit booked in here anytime soon. But it's a nice area to kind of take a break in, if nothing else there. And this has been here for a very long time, maybe since opening. I'm not sure if it was here opening, I don't quite recall. But I just love that comic cover and seeing that McFarlane art depicted in that way is such a cool way to kind of enter the theater. I'm sorry, enter the museum. I was looking over our sign, it's their museum theater down below. We Talked about that. Okay. The museum shop. Now, this is also if you're coming out for Comic-Con. Sometimes we've seen the merch show up here a little early. So that may be of interest as well. Comic-Con Museum, we have that exact hat. It's a good quality hat. We've got our Tokidoki. Makes sense that there'd be some selling. That's obviously newly brought into the museum. I mean, they usually try to tie some of the merch offerings into the current exhibits. Of course, Doctor Who, as we talked about, being like the heart of the museum at the moment. So all sorts of Who merchandise, games, books, shirts, rugs, blankets, lanyards. This is one of my favorite pieces in here for the prints. Great comic art there. And celebrating some of their past exhibitions here, of course, Excelsior, Archie, and then Betty Boop we talked about earlier. Some prints available for that. This one is by Rick Geary of the Toucan fame there. Only $5 for that little art print. Some more pieces here, a whole little library of books. Lots of manga offerings relative to all they have here. Of course, comics. These kind of tying into the last exhibit they had here with kind of tying in superheroes to myth. So you've got the Batman Champion, Superman Prince, and Wonder Woman Princess statue versions there. They even got Sweet Tooth down there, another really good book. All right, some of the Comic-Con Museum from their Toucana nights. Oh, the Excelsior sweatshirt there. Hey there, Manny. Good to see you. Hope you had fun at Fun Days. These all seem to be kid versions here. These are clearance WonderCon, Comic-Con $5 t-shirts. So looking for a deal. Obviously size is limited there, but just $5. More $5 shirts. Clearing things out before all the new Comic-Con merch hits, which the new Comic-Con merchandise. Oh, there we go, from WonderCon at home. We did have a good time at Fun Days. Thanks. It was a fun little event there. Yeah, agreed. Really good deals. And again, sizes are very limited with what they have there. But what you can expect if you're coming out for Comic-Con is these will be cleared out and there will be Comic-Con 2025 merchandise there. If I had to guess, that's been the trend. So more to come. If you come out a day or two early, you might be able to pick that stuff up early there. Not seen these before. Playing cards set up kind of in like action figure containers there. More Tokidoki love. Oh yeah, Peanuts art by numbers. We're big Peanuts fans. Charlie Brown and the crew. This all tying into the Lucha Libre. This is all new merch since our last visit here too to connect. Chuck Jones Gallery. We've talked about that. They got a new location, or at least new to us, in Seaport Village, so that was fun. Checking out. I do not believe there is a bus, but correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat that knows differently, that goes from there. I believe that's been a request before. I love the Comic-Con Museum.
It's not that far, so people can afford Lyft fairly affordably.
Yeah, true. The Ubers and Lyfts are not too bad a price for as close as it is. So there is that option if there's not as well for those that have it. The blind bags, blind boxes. These are my favorite. These are so much fun. You get Zillas. You get a variety of different blind box. Like that's a really cool blind box for me.
It's less than 2.5 miles away from
Yeah.
the convention center.
So Carmel Planet's about 2.5 miles from the convention center, so not too far. But yeah, I don't think that there is. I don't believe the full shuttle schedule's been released, so it could change. Oh, the Xenomorph. Fun. Fun stuff. Batgirl, all set for Santa. Fun stuff. Crypto. Vicky Vale. Fun stuff there. Here's more of the Comic-Con museum-specific merchandise. Got some of those toucans still hanging around here. These are just $10 if you miss those. They've also got some of the tiki mugs here for just $10 from WonderCon. So some good deals. It's nice to see that some of that stuff has a place to live and sell at reduced prices when it doesn't sell out at the conventions there. So really fun store. Always a cool spot to check out. So that said, I think we're going to wrap up this one. So we are heading down to the gas lamp. We're putting together an outside Comic-Con video that'll come out later this week. And then at 5:30 today, we will have our live show where we talk about the news from the week for Comic-Con, some Comic-Con tips, and things that we found out in the gas lamp and beyond today. So if you get a chance, join us at 5:30, or if you're watching this later, we've got a whole library of videos all related to Comic-Con goodness. So thanks guys for tuning in. We're gonna wrap up here. Until next time, see you in line somewhere.